That all this here is way too dark for my liking because I'm not sure how committed I am to any of it. That's a bit too much, erasing too much. The nice thing about drawing on a computer is that the paper, as it were, it's not actual paper, and you can erase as much and as often as you'd like. So that's pretty great. I like that. And that's too much opacity. Do I want this? What's going on? Ah. So it was too thin for my liking. I've done art online. I mean, I have a freaking tablet. It's a bit too little. But I'm no expert. I'm using a free art program. Have I said everything I want to say about the War of Art? Yeah, I think so. So, why don't I talk a little bit about what I want to do with this? Sketch 2, I think. With this here video series, I think I've got 2 other videos here. I made some animations a long time ago. Yeah, I mean the perfect is the enemy of done here. I'm not the happiest with that, but it's a decent enough shape. Oh yes, I made another layer so I could do this. I want to see how the eyes are going to look. I think that looks fine. Merge down. Okay, cool. So I've been a fan on and off of Game Grumps. So I thought I would do something like Game Grumps, but for drawing. I don't know if it's going to work out or not, but I reserve the right to change this as much as it makes sense for me. I've seen a few other artists, YouTubers, they'll just draw something and then record that drawing. Then they'll talk over a sped up recording of that drawing so they can talk about whatever subject they want. And usually it's art related. That's pretty typical. I'm pretty happy with that actually. I think it's better than I had any right to think it should be. I don't know if you can hear the music, but I'm playing some music for myself. It's just a playlist of YouTube music that I'm free to use if I want. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make new layers as soon as I'm like unsure about myself or what I want to do, and then merge down and play around. So I like the shape of everything, so I'm going to be a little more bold with my. I'm going to draw a little bit more on it and make it look good, hopefully. Commit to my decisions. what is that? Every so often there's like a piece of art or just like the curve is not obeying my commands. I don't like it. That's good. I mean, eyes don't look like that, of course. They don't droop like that. I know this is cartoony and all, but I think this is a little too droopy for what I want to achieve. I see. So what's the opacity here? It's 70. My eyes are old. Maybe something like that. Let's play around. Oh yes, and I've got 2 layers here, so I can't erase what's on the bottom layer. Okay. I haven't saved. So like I said, I've watched some other artist YouTubers, and they'll typically draw a thing and then talk over what they're drawing. It's not always. And that's a perfectly fine way to make a video. But I was sketching in my sketchbook the other day, maybe a month or more ago now, and I started talking to myself. I've always talked to myself. Sometimes I'll pretend. I'll just have a flight of fancy, and I'll pretend I'm in a book that I've been reading, or let's be honest, more often like a cartoon I've been watching. And it's dangerous for me to focus too much on one area, so I should try to strengthen some of these other lines, like this. You know, because of the noise reduction of the microphone on my computer, you may not hear the background noise as much, but I've got geese going on in the background. I got goats going on, goating on in the background. Oh, what's going on here? Let's just do the curve that I'm telling you to do. I don't know if it's my hand or the computer or what, but it's not coloring where I want it to color. That's better. What the heck was I talking about? Oh yeah, so I had this notion of, I was talking to myself, right? I was talking to myself, and I thought, I was talking about just whatever, because I'm the sort of person who just has this. If you let me and I let myself, I'll just have this monologue that'll just go on forever, and it can be really annoying if you're having a conversation with a person one on one. But if you're on a podcast or doing a YouTube channel or something like that, that can be an asset. It can just go on forever, right? So why not take advantage of that? Do something like Game Grumps. I think I made a point of saying that I was a fan of Game Grumps. I am, or I have been a dedicated viewer / listener at various points. Sometimes I lose patience with it. I'm not interested in it anymore. Let's see how that looks if I break the line a little bit. I don't know how y'all are, but for me, I can be pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? I can go from one thing to another real fast. Some things I always come back to, but I can be really into something for a short period and then move on. I think that's an ADHD thing. I'm not positive. So I started talking about all kinds of things to myself as if I were on on a show like what I'm doing now. And like, I could do this. I could probably do this every day. But of course, I have so many things in my life that I need to take care of. Like, I need to be fixing the fence to the boy goat area so that that boy doesn't escape anymore. Because right now he's romancing our ladies, and he shouldn't be. And that means we're going to have some babies when we don't want. I don't know. Why am I doing this instead of that? Because I said I was going to do it. I told myself I was going to do this. And I also sort of have been pushing myself pretty hard. We had a bit of a scare with one of our baby goats. Actually, two of them. So yesterday, we took one of our babies because it seemed to us like she had broken a rib. But apparently, it's just that she'd always had a dent in her rib cage and we hadn't noticed it before. Or we thought perhaps maybe that she'd, one of her growth spurts changed the configuration of where her rib cage is versus her legs and so on. So maybe we feel that divot, whereas, at a previous stage of her growth, it was hidden or obscured. That's my working theory anyway. I think that looks okay. This may be too rambly. I may decide not even to publish this, but if I do, and I still don't like how rambly it is, I should just publish it, unless it's just really awful. I should just do this every day and get better and better at it. But I'm going all over the place, but how my mind tends to work, so maybe I don't need to worry about that. Maybe I just do it, and for those of you who aren't bothered by it, or who have a mind like mine, just goes all over the place, then you'll be like, oh, this is someone I can listen to. Maybe you can just listen to it while you go to sleep or some nonsense. I definitely do that with stuff I like, especially if I've heard it already. I've listened to it. I like the Weekly Planet podcast. It's a podcast about movies and TV and sometimes comics and video games, but mostly movies and TV based off of comics and video games. And it's done by a couple of Australians. And I'm not even a big consumer of that kind of stuff anymore. I used to be, and I certainly am the type who gets into Marvel movies. And I have so much trouble. Oh, I see what's going on. I'm just going to merge this down because I'm happy with how this is working out. And I want some control over this. Yes, there we go. I've certainly watched more than my fair share of comic book movies. I don't even know what I was talking about before. Anyway, so I listen to those guys partly because I used to be in that world of comic book movies. I used to love listening to that stuff or watching that stuff, consuming it. And partly because I just like the parasocial aspect of it. I feel like I know I don't know, but I feel like I know the people in that podcast. I think other more seasoned cartoonists are going to be like, why are you taking so long with this drawing? What are you even doing? You need to have one layer should be like a very simple sketch, just do this, and then do another layer where you're doing, do the good lines after, just ink it, and then you're done. That's how that should work. I've tried that to some degree of success, but at the moment, I have to say, this is oh. So I'll just finish my my current thought, and then when I edit this, or however I process this, I'll look and see what did I talk about before, and what threads did I leave down, and try to pick them up later, and maybe I try to be more organized in my thinking. I do have like a document for like, oh, what am I doing? So yes, I am absolutely going to be talking about politics. Um, that's the niche I kind of want to find. So like I'm super into leftist YouTube. I'm super into ContraPoints and Sean, who formerly used to be Sean and Jen and Philosophy Tube, like that whole scene. Um, Thought Slime, fucking love. Damn it, I freaking love Thought Slime. And if I try to censor myself, I just don't think it's going to work out. I'm not going to be as authentic. It's not going to come out as good, and as a end product, and it's just going to be less me. Like part of the whole reason I want to do this is because I want to be more myself in what I do. So I think it'd be insincere for me to not talk about politics and art, despite a bunch of dumbasses on YouTube and elsewhere online, a bunch of naive young fools. I'm really enjoying this, by the way. I'm really enjoying drawing, and I'm getting more into the groove of talking. That's another thing. The more I do this, I bet the less awkward it'll sound. It feels pretty awkward right now. Not like so bad, but like I'm certainly not to the level of comfort that I would be if I was just talking to myself on my own, or just making my inner monologue happen in my head from being disciplined about it. But yeah, I'm a leftist. I'm super leftist. Not as much as say Thought Slime. I don't yet subscribe to anarcho-communism, but I do watch some of those YouTubers. I really do, and they make way too much sense. It's a little concerning. They make so much sense. I may turn out to be some kind of anarchist later. I used to be anarcho-capitalist, so maybe I'm just wired to be a radical of some stripe or another. Very deeply. Am I ashamed of having been an anarcho-capitalist? Maybe. I don't know. Okay. So I don't know what thought I started with that said I was going to finish, but I really should stop now and, if nothing else, like record another video. But there's like other things I need to do. I need to, like if I'm gonna make this video, I should edit it and put it in iMovie and whatever else. And if I gotta take care of goats and I don't know, make a meal before we go to bed. But I feel really revitalized. I feel like good. One of the things I worry about, and after I say this, I'll stop. One of the things I worry about is like I have issues with my wrist and arm and things that I worry that if I start trying to draw 8 hours a day or 8 or more hours a day, if I can manage that kind of output eventually, and I'll talk about why I can't now later. I think that parsed. My day to day, I can't fit 8 hours a day of anything, and I'll talk about that as I go. As I make more videos, I'll talk about that. I worry that if I do get to that point, my body will just not allow me to be an artist anymore. And I guess if that happens, that's fine. I do have a left hand, and I can maybe train myself to draw with my left hand. That's why I have it. It's a spare. I'm glad I have two eyes, just in case one gets poked out. That's the kind of brain I have, thinking those kinds of thoughts. I'm going to keep on talking. I might as well keep drawing. But if that doesn't work out, I guess I can always go to my second choice, which is just telling stories. You know, because really what I want to do is I want to participate in the thing that I consume, which is, you know, comics and cartoons and video games. And really, cartoons was my first love as a kid. I discovered comics later on in the funny papers and newspapers, but I originally, you know, watched Scooby Doo and freaking Muppets and the original Star Trek and Adam West Batman. I have some memories of that as a kid, but mostly it was Star Trek and the Muppets and Scooby Doo. I really think that has a lot of that explains a lot about my tastes. Not fully, but it explains a lot about my tastes. All right, I really need to stop because I'm sure this has gotten to be like a half an hour, and I'm not even sure I can upload that much. So we'll see. I may have to. Wow, there's also geese in there. All right, I've had fun. I've enjoyed myself, and maybe this is worth uploading, even if it's not the best thing, because it is a thing that I will have created, um, and I'll be able to say, "Hey, I've done my work today. I published something, and I did my best to do that, and I didn't fuss over making it perfect, and then not produce anything." And at the end of this, I should have a drawing that I'll probably put up on Tumblr, and I'll keep moving. I'll talk more about my plans later of what I want to do with this channel and how I want to start making money with art and all those kinds of things. But I think for now, I really need to stop. So I hope you enjoyed this. Um, Ultimately, I don't think it's as important to me that you enjoyed it as that I made it. But I hope that you did.